Welcome to Lighten Up, the Art of Living Clutter-Free, a podcast for people who are ready to clear the physical, the mental, and the emotional clutter that's been weighing them down. I'm Melanie Cohen, your host, coach, and guide. Each week, we talk about the clutter you can see and the clutter you can't. The stuff in your home, the noise in your head, the expectations, habits, and unmade decisions that quietly drain your energy. This isn't about perfection or minimalism. It's about creating space for what actually matters in this season of your life. Let's lighten up together, starting now. So I'm going to call this podcast episode What I Actually Do and Why It's So Much More Than Clutter. We've all been to a dinner party or another event or a networking event or a space where we're meeting someone. And the first question is always, what is your name? And after that, there's a host of different things that can come up. But most often it's, what do you do for a living? And so when I hear people say, what exactly do you do? I honestly understand. When I was saying I'm a transformational life coach and clutter expert, people would say, but what do you actually do? And honestly, I understand why people ask. For years, people knew me as a weight loss coach. Others knew me from the fashion industry. Some remember me from retail. There may even be a few kids that remember me being their nanny. And some people know me through my workshops. Others know me through my podcast. And while all of those things are a part of my story, none of them fully explain what it is that I actually do. So I thought it might be helpful to answer the question here. What exactly do I do? So the simplest answer is this. I help women in the messy middle of life clear the physical, mental, emotional, digital, and calendar clutter that's weighing them down so that they can create more clarity, more confidence, and more calm in their lives. But I want to unpack that a little bit. The women I work with are incredibly capable. They have careers, they own businesses, they have families, they have aging parents, they have adult or nearly adult children. They have partners and friends, they have community and commitments, household responsibilities, and somewhere along the way, they became the person that everyone depends on. They're successful, they're responsible, they're reliable. They're often the ones holding everything together. But inside, many of them feel so overwhelmed. They feel pulled in more directions than we can count on one hand. They struggle to prioritize themselves. They know something needs to change, but they don't know where to start. That's where I come in. Clutter is about more than stuff. When people hear the word clutter, they often think about overflowing closets and crowded garages or piles of paperwork. And yes, that's a part of the conversation. But the truth is that physical clutter is often just one symptom of a much larger problem. The women that I work with are often carrying clutter in many different forms. There's mental clutter, which is the constant swirl of thoughts, worries, responsibilities, and unfinished tasks. There's emotional clutter, which is old stories, guilt, resentment, fear, perfectionism, and self-doubt. Do I have you by now? There's digital clutter. Thousands of unread emails, endless tabs open, files that they can't find, notifications constantly bing, 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 demanding their attention. There's calendar clutter. All the overcommitment, overscheduling, saying yes when they really want to say no. Does this sound like you yet? And then there's physical clutter. It's the visible reminder of everything else that feels unfinished. The clutter may look different from woman to woman, but the impact is often the same. The impact is exhaustion. It's stress. It's decision fatigue. It's overwhelm. It's a feeling that life is happening to them instead of being created by them. The real goal of my work isn't a perfectly organized home. It's not an empty closet, and it is most definitely not perfection. The goal is creating space. Space to think, space to breathe, space to make decisions, space to focus on what truly matters, space to reconnect with yourself. Because when everything feels crowded and noisy and demanding, it's hard to hear your own voice over all of that. It's hard to know what you want. It's hard to move forward. Creating space changes that. So, one of the things that I believe deeply is that big transformations rarely start with big actions. They start with small ones. That's why you'll often hear me talking about ridiculously simple goals. Because when you're overwhelmed, the answer is usually not doing more. The answer is creating enough momentum to get moving again. One email, one drawer, one boundary, one decision, one tiny action that reminds you that progress is possible. Momentum builds confidence, and confidence builds trust. Here's the thing. When we set a ridiculously simple goal, we don't need to spend all this time motivating ourselves or getting ready to get ready. A ridiculously simple goal is something we can do like this. Snap my fingers, just like that. And it's usually something, it would benefit us if those goals were 5, 10, 15 minutes. And that might not sound like a lot, but if the goal is simply the one drawer or the one category, the socks, I like to use as an example, chances are you're going to do more of that because you'll get it done in a short period of time and say, hey, look what I'm capable of. And now you are in and of yourself more motivated and inspired to do the same. But it's about creating momentum. It may not be doing more than 15 minutes in that moment, but remembering the next time you set aside 15 minutes that you'll feel capable of doing the thing. That feeling capable is the confidence that we need to keep moving forward. This is not about huge overhauls. They don't work. They just lead to more mess. This is about simple steps that build momentum. So when I say lighten up, I am not talking about becoming a minimalist. I'm not talking about getting rid of everything that you own. I am not talking about having a perfectly curated life. I'm talking about lightening the load, the physical load, the mental load, the invisible load that so many women carry every single day. Because the women I work with don't need more pressure. They don't need another impossible standard. They don't need another expert telling them that they aren't doing enough. They need support. They need space. They need practical tools. They need permission to stop trying to do everything perfectly. Most of all, they need a place where they can finally put some of the weight down. So if you've ever wondered what I do, that's the answer. I help women in the messy middle of life clear the clutter that's weighing them down. Not just the stuff in their homes, the stuff in their heads, the stuff in their hearts, the stuff on their calendars, the stuff that keeps them feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, and stuck. Because when we create space, something powerful happens. We gain clarity. We build confidence. We find calm. And we create momentum toward the life we actually want to live. That's the work. And I'm honored to do it every single day. And now that you've probably heard a little bit about yourself in today's episode, I'd like you to reach out to me. I would love for you to be a part of my next cohort of the Lighten Up Clutter-Free Mindset Method, a group program for women who are looking to lighten the load and feel more clarity, more calm, and more confidence in their lives and in their lives around them. You can look for the link in the show notes. And please, if this episode resonated, share this with someone you love. There are other women out there who also have to hear they're not broken. They don't need to be fixed. They're just overloaded. and I want to help lighten that load. Thank you for listening to Lighten Up the Art of Living Clutter-Free. If this episode resonated, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who could use just a little bit of lightness. If you're ready for deeper support, you can work with me one-on-one or join my Lighten Up Clutter-Free Mindset Group program. You can find all the details at my website, thoughtfullycoaching.com. Until next time, progress over perfection. Messy action is better than no action at all. So let's lighten up.